I really can't decide if I'm extremely nervous to make this video or really, really excited to make this video. It's somewhere in between. But I thought this is something that I wanted to share for a really long time. And I was like, why not today? Why not today? So here we are. So growing up, I was never really interested in self-help books or motivational books or just any wisdom, really. I kind of thought I had the world figured out, and those books were for people with problems, which is really, really, really dumb and silly to think, because it's not true at all. But something clicked when I got into my 20s and I started becoming obsessed with them. Obsessed, like I've read countless books about life. All topics from marriage, which I'm not even married yet, to having children, which I don't have children yet. I'm probably revealing a lot about myself right now. I might be a little bit crazy. But there's just something so interesting to me about sponging wisdom off of people who have experienced things that you haven't experienced yet. Like, I think there's something really powerful in knowing what could potentially lie ahead for you. So like, even though I'm not married and I don't have children, if I can become aware of the difficulties of those situations now, maybe I can take preventive measures. My cats are crazy. So basically, since I have read a lot of these books, I thought, why not make a video discussing some of my favorite things that I've learned, kind of like life lessons, kind of like the stuff that, you heard growing up, treat others the way you want to be treated, blah, blah, blah. But it's a little bit more in depth, and I'll explain each one a little bit better than that. I'd also really like to say that I am in no way, shape, or form a sensei of life. I am still very much a student, an amateur student. I have come this close to figuring life out, but I have a very, 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 very long way to go. So a lot of these things that I'm saying are opinions, and I know how people feel about opinions on the internet, so I'm gonna be a little careful. That's partially why I'm nervous / excited to make this video. But the whole goal of this video is to help bring you a new perspective on things and to potentially help you live a happier life. So take out of this video what you will, but that is my intent. You must find a purpose in life, and you must be extremely passionate about that purpose. And a lot of people, passion can mean different things, or passion can be on a different scale. But for me personally, passionate means not that you like something, or not even really that you strongly like something, but that you can't stop thinking about that something. That you're so passionate that when you start talking about that thing, you get worked up, your voice raises a little bit, you use a lot of body language. Like, I'm really passionate about veganism, which I'm actually not going to talk about in this video, but when you get me started talking with friends or people or fellow vegans, I actually get the most compassionate when speaking. I get really into it, and it's something that I study every single day, whether it's reading an article or watching a lecture from a professor or a doctor or something. It's something I'm just so passionate about that it surrounds my mind, it surrounds my life, and that is something that you need in your life. All right, now this next one I know you guys have heard a million times, but hear me out. I'm gonna elaborate on it. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Now, I know you've been told this your whole life, but think about it like this. Have you ever fantasized about being that friend that people speak so highly of? To be that friend who walks into a party and everyone is beyond delighted to see? You can be that friend, but first you have to be on the other end of it. If you wish a friend would give you a surprise gift, give your friend a surprise gift. If you wish that your friend would randomly tell you how much your friendship means to them, tell them how much their friendship means to you. Lead by example, and if they are a good friend, a friend worthy of your time, they will follow your lead. I cannot stress how important this is, and I know especially when you're young, friendship can seem like a bit of a struggle. It's really easy when you're really young. These cats. It's easy when you're really young, and then when you get into kind of middle school, it becomes a little more difficult, and then when you get into high school, it becomes fairly difficult. And then after that, it just takes a whole new path completely. But I think it's really important to understand that you can have amazing friends in your life if you become an amazing friend. Think of laughter as money. The more you laugh or attempt to do things to make yourself or others laugh, the more rich you will be. And I know that this is kind of cheesy, but I really think the majority of people underestimate the power of laughter. Laughter is everything. If you can find just 10 things a day that make you laugh, that you know are gonna make you laugh, whether it's like a funny YouTube channel or a really funny and outgoing friend, or I know for me growing up, like when I was in high school, I would love when I had classes with class clowns, because you're always just like, what are they gonna do? Like, they're just so ridiculous. And just finding reasons to laugh and be happy is just one of the best things in life. And I think you can never take life too seriously. You should always laugh. You should always joke around. Not necessarily at the expense of others by being extremely obnoxious in public settings and such, but you know, when you're partying or at home or with friends or whatever, be goofy. Make others laugh. Make yourself laugh. Okay, so this next one is probably the most depressing one on the entire list, and this is something that I researched and found out about a year ago. Kind of blew my mind, not gonna lie, because I'm a little bit of a hopeless romantic, and it made me a little sad. But it's a very powerful fact to know in life. I think quite possibly the most powerful thing that I have on this entire list. So it is a scientific fact that new love high that everyone swoons over does not last forever. And you guys probably know what I'm talking about. The intense butterflies, the I love you so much, nothing is wrong with you, I want to spend every day of my life with you, I want to marry you, that feeling. Usually 2 to 3 years is the cutoff, and that's 2 years of total immersion. That means living together or married, pretty much an adult. That is when shit gets real. It's when most couples split, and for a good reason, especially with the stress of modern life. Loving another unconditionally does not come natural to the human being. It takes work, and once that time is over, the 2 to 3 years, you'll find yourself standing at a fork in the road of true love or get the fuck out. Understand it and accept it. Relationships are about give and take and unconditional love, and most importantly, communication. Many people want to give up after a few years because they feel unhappy and they crave the new love high, to be with someone new, to be with someone who is passionate about being with them every second of every day, to have crazy butterflies again, and to feel no judgment from someone, just bliss. I also believe that this fork in the road is something that all couples must eventually face. Some do it better than others, but nevertheless, if you want to go down the road past the fork together, it will be rocky for a bit. I have heard that things get harder and then they get easier. It's all about how well you communicate. But I still believe in marriage because I personally want to invest myself and my love into one person. I do see the interest in floating through many new and thrilling relationships. However, I don't want to be 70 and alone. I want to rock. I want a true companion. Now, I know that is a lot of information to take in, and you're probably wanting to come at me with a lot of defense right now, saying that's not true, my parents have been together for 20 years and they're super happy, they still have butterflies, blah blah blah. I'm definitely not saying that butterflies die after 2 to 3 years, but I am saying that relationships become very different after living together for 2 to 3 years. They become a lot more difficult because I truly don't believe that humans are meant to be monogamous creatures. If you look at nature, for the most part, animals don't just stay with one partner their whole life. That's not really how it works. We do it that way because it works with our society that way, or at least that's what I believe. But I think it's a lot of work, and I think you have to acknowledge it. It's a lot of work. It's so important to acknowledge that it's a lot of work, because it's really easy to say, oh, this is getting too much, I'm annoyed, you're pissing me off all the time, why don't you ever do the dishes, why don't you get a job, blah, blah, blah. You know, lots of conflict. It's really easy to just walk away from that situation and go date someone new and feel that adrenaline again, feel that amazing high. But that new high it's going to turn into the same thing eventually, and the problem is just going to keep repeating itself. So until you learn how to work through a relationship, you're not going to be with someone for more than 2 to 3, 4 years tops. Whew. All right, that one was deep. I'm not gonna lie, that was deep. All right, next, there's a big difference between knowledge and intelligence. Even the world's most intelligent minds lack knowledge on some subjects. People only know what they have been exposed to. Don't judge someone because they mispronounce a word or didn't know a random fact. I'm sure that they know many things that you do not. This is something that I really love because a lot of people will throw around the word stupid. Oh, you're so stupid. Oh, you're so ignorant. Oh, this, oh, that. But no, intelligence is how your mind functions. Knowledge is what you know, what you've been exposed to, what you've been taught. You can be an extremely intelligent person and not have a whole lot of knowledge, but you can't have a whole lot of knowledge and necessarily be a highly intelligent person. I mean, the term book smart exists for a reason. But really, I absolutely hate when people publicly correct other people. I think it's very rude. I think maybe later pull them aside or like send them a text message or something, like just a heads up, wanted you to know. But don't do it in a douchey way. I just don't understand that. Okay, this next one might be a little bit of an eye roll, but it's very true, so hear me out. Appreciate life, have gratitude, wake up every day and think about how lucky you are to be alive and healthy, to be able to walk, to be able to breathe easily, to have clean water at your fingertips, to have food to eat. I didn't always appreciate life, and I'm still getting there. Meditation helps keep me in check, and I highly suggest it. Sitting in a dark room in peace, taking deep breaths, and thinking about what you're thankful for. Also, throughout your day, anytime you have a remarkable experience, acknowledge them in your mind as things to be thankful for. Simple things. I had a really lovely candlelit bath and read an amazing book. Or, I walked home from school today and it was such a beautiful sunny day. I know that those things seem really simple and it's like, oh, everyone does that. But I think at some point in life, we become desensitized to things. As children, the littlest things excite us and we're like, amazed by a butterfly on a flower and we think it's the most beautiful thing ever. But now, since we walk by them every day, we don't stop and think about the beauty of life and how great we have it on this planet. And I think it's really crucial to being happy, to appreciate what you have. You will become such a happy person. Never purposely try to hurt an individual. We all pass judgment, a lot. Unless your name is Jesus Christ, you judge people many times each and every day. It is human nature to judge, but try to keep your judgment to yourself. If you think it's something that you really need to talk about, then talk about it anonymously. But to speak poorly to someone directly with the actual intent of hurting them, don't do that. You are better than that, and if it's not something that you would wish upon yourself, don't do it to another. This is something obviously that we see a lot online. People set out on a mission to try to hurt someone, and I'll never understand it. All good relationships, including friendships, take a lot of work, selfless work. All relationships involve many disagreements, many moments of frustration, many annoyances. But all relationships can thrive with 3 things: unconditional love, trust, and most importantly, communication. Don't judge, spread love, give support, and talk through your feelings and problems. I wrote this one, it's more about friendship than it is about relationships, because people nowadays, when you think about a friend, it's just like, oh, that's someone who's there for me when I need them. But really, it's in your best interest to form strong friendships that are almost just as strong as your relationship with your partner in life. So I just think it's crucial to, if you have a tiff with someone, if someone rubs you the wrong way and you see best friend potential in that person, don't let that tiff ruin things. Take the person aside and be like, listen, I really value you as a friend and I love you and I don't want you to be mad at me about this. I'm sorry for whatever I did. Put your pride aside. Sometimes you gotta put your pride aside. say you're sorry and say that you want to work through it and that it's not worth losing a friendship over. Okay, this next one I really, really stand by. Everyone fucks up. Allow them to move on with their lives. Allow them to grow from their mistakes. Nothing is worse than living a life where you are constantly being dragged down by a past that you cannot change. We do this a lot. Like, don't even front. We all live in the past. It is so unhealthy for you, for the health of your mind. It's awful. If someone makes a mistake and you can tell that that person feels bad about that mistake, they've apologized, whatever, don't hold that mistake against them. In the back of your mind, you can remember that it happened, but don't bring it up. If you can tell that they're apologetic about it, don't hold it over their head. It's not fair. Everybody makes mistakes. We are human and we do shitty things all the time. We fuck up every single day. We tell lies or we say things we shouldn't, but we live and let live. I mean, if the person is truly sorry, which, I mean, we all have like this little special tool in our head where we can tell if someone's genuinely sorry or not. If you feel like someone's genuinely sorry, just erase it. It didn't happen, just erase it. Okay, here's the one about treating people with respect online. Be nice to people online. The amount of hatred I see online these days is insane. I don't know how parents deal with it because I can only imagine my child crying to me saying that people told them they were ugly on Instagram, etc. It's not okay. Being directly hateful towards someone online is never okay, and it really truly makes you look awful. What if your comment led to that person hurting themselves or push them over the edge to do something that they would regret? How would you feel? If there was a book that kept record of everything you've ever publicly said to people, would you stand by it? Would you proudly let everyone read it? Your mother, your husband, your children? I think it's really easy to talk shit. It really truly is, and I think shit talking can bond people sometime, and maybe that's why our society thrives so much on shit talking. And we all do it. I'm not innocent. I've said shitty things, but I think we all need to wake up and realize that that's not cool, and it really just makes you look like a shitty person. I mean, you don't want to be that annoying person who only says good things about people, but I mean, I'm not telling you to be fake and to just throw compliments right and left, but I think it's important to try to focus on the nice things about people instead of talking shit about people. Okay, I love this one. Never tell people that they are wrong. It just creates a defensive environment, and 90% of the time, literally 90% of the time, it will not end in them admitting to being wrong. It is just a lose-lose situation. A fool will fight fire with fire. A wise man will walk away before getting burnt. And I know this is easier said than done. Sometimes when you get in a heated argument with someone and when you just straight up know that you are right, like if you would sign a limb, cutting off a limb to the fact that you know you're right, it is really hard to just walk away from that argument. But it is never worth it. It is never worth making a friend or a loved one angry with you over a petty argument. Not worth it. You have to just learn to let it go. I'm not going to start singing Frozen. Moments of darkness are meant to push you onto a new path. Things happen for a reason. Bad things happen so good things can happen later. So when you are sad about something, remember that maybe that thing had to happen so that the universe could allow something even better to happen for you later. This is something that I have witnessed time and time again. I've had so many moments in my life where I've been really, really sad or upset about things, but then later I realized, man, if that didn't happen to me, I wouldn't have done this, and then I wouldn't have done this, and then I wouldn't have done this, and then I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be making this video for you guys. You know, so you have to understand that when bad things happen, it could be because something better is coming. Everyone faces moments of insecurity. Everyone. Do not let insecurity consume you. Look at yourself in the mirror each day and say, this is me, and I love myself. And I mean that with no makeup, for my girls out there. Cheesy, yes, but it will slowly work. And if it doesn't work and you feel so down on yourself that you feel as if it has consumed your life, then, maybe then, consider plastic surgery. This is not me telling you to get plastic surgery. I do not stand by plastic surgery. It is not my cup of tea, but it is not my body and it is not my choice. However, when it comes to image, this is something that I really like to think about. As children, we truly give 0 fucks about appearance. It's not until someone tells us that you have a big nose or funny teeth that we even become aware of appearance being a thing. But once those words are said, they are in our heads for life. Something is wrong with me. No, nothing is wrong with you. You are you, and just because the nipped and tucked celebrities have somehow set the standard for beauty in our world does not mean that they are the beautiful ones. However, I also realize that one can't simply snap and reprogram their thoughts on what's beautiful. I also understand the pressure of the digital generation, one filled with selfies and comments about those selfies. But if you stand by who you are, who you were born being, you are strong, you are a bad bitch, and I love you for that. I'd like to do a small disclaimer that this has nothing to do with transgender. Just putting that out there. I think it's really easy to get caught up in appearance, and I think we all do it. I've definitely had really low moments of insecurity where I feel like I only look amazing with makeup on, and that's sad. And it's something that I'm still currently working towards, accepting myself in my raw form. But growing up, more or less being told that you only look good when your hair and makeup is done, it's kind of hard to erase, and it's sad. But I think we should all support one another, and I don't know. I think this is really sensitive grounds, and I don't want to talk about it too much, but I think everyone at the end of the day makes their own decision about what makes them happy and what they value. And yeah. It is okay to feel as if you have little to no sense of self. Truly discovering who you are, realizing what makes you happy, and learning how to decipher your thoughts and feelings takes many, many, many years. People love to act as if everyone finds themselves during their teenage years, but wise people know we can never truly find ourselves 100%. We are ever evolving and far too complex of creatures. However, you will start to really hone in on your inner self in your 20s and 30s. Your focus will shift and you will have more peace with yourself. Even Oprah says that it took her until she was about 30 years old to really begin to understand who she was. So this is something that I feel like a lot of people do struggle with in their teenage years and their early 20s. Figuring out who they are, what they're passionate about, why they behave a certain way, and life is very, very confusing. I clearly have not figured this out yet. I don't know. I mean, I'm clear on what I'm passionate about, and I feel like I've grown a lot as a person within the past few years, but I'm nowhere near. I'm still very, sorry, Pip is laying right here. It's so cute, I can't handle it. But yeah, we will all get there, guys. We will all get there. Just don't let people tell you that you don't know who you are, that you're a poser, or that you're fake, or whatever. Fuck them. You're doing you. You're trying out new things. They can fuck off. I was gonna say suck a dick, but then I was like, I shouldn't take it there. We are all very, very ignorant creatures. Our biggest fault is that we think we know so much more than what we truly do. This is because 90% of our thoughts are not even our thoughts. They have been taught to us by others or merely through observation. Don't believe those thoughts. Question everything and everyone. Create your own original thoughts. You may want to say something like, oh my God, Stacy wore a tiny tube top last night. You should have seen her. What a slut. But that is supporting what I'm saying. That's not an original thought. That is an expression that you more than likely observed and simply repeated. Because if you were an original thinker, you would acknowledge that someone's clothing does not define their sexual life. You must break free of this. When you have a thought like this, ask yourself why. Then ask yourself if you truly believe it or if society has just led you to believe it. Try and educate yourself as much as possible. Become addicted to learning. And most importantly, never present your thoughts as factual information unless you know for a 100% fact that it is indeed a fact. Acknowledge that there's always a possibility for error if you didn't learn from a direct, reliable source. Mommy and daddy, surprisingly, are not always right. So this is something that I've recently spent a lot of time thinking about. And it's we are a very programmed society. We are programmed to think and act a specific way. And it's easier than trying to live this like spiritual life where you question everything. But you should question everything. Nothing is a fact. Even if a doctor tells you something, question it, because his opinion may be biased in a certain way, you know? So you really truly just have to question everything and everyone. Nothing is more valuable than being allowed the chance to make mistakes. Mistakes are the most effective way of learning. The more mistakes you make earlier in life, the better off you will be, the stronger you will be, the wiser you will be. Those who are restricted, overprotected, cradled, or babied will advance much slower into their adult life. Now, I'm not saying to go out and try to make mistakes, but when mistakes fall into your lap and you have to deal with the consequences, you become a better person, and you will definitely not make that same mistake again. So this is something that I strongly stand by, and it kind of goes more into like parenting. I think there is nothing better than allowing a child or a young person to make their own mistakes. It's really easy to try to teach someone a lesson verbally and for them not to grasp it. But when you experience something, when something slaps you right in the face, you learn instantly. Oh shit, I'm never gonna do that again. And it's very effective. Before you judge someone, ask yourself, would I be the same under their circumstances? Everyone's life shapes who they become. We are all programmed differently. We all think and feel differently about everything. We can't all think the same way at the same time. We all walk the same path, but some people finish before others. Some face blocks, some get lost, some take new paths. The sooner you understand that, the sooner you will understand those around you. So this is something that I personally forget a lot. I do pass judgment a lot in my head towards people. And one example that I really like to use are homeless people. And no disrespect towards homeless people. I respect them quite a bit, and I think it's a very unfortunate situation. But it's really easy for someone to walk past a homeless person and be like, stupid drug addict, just want money for alcohol, blah, blah, blah. Because that's a heavy stereotype that is, for the most part, supported. But what it's important to understand and to think about is that maybe if you had had that same life as that person, that would be you on the street. Maybe if when you were raised, your mom did drugs, didn't pay attention to you, left you with a poopy diaper all day, didn't give two fucks about you, and you were poor and whatever, and that was your life, you would have turned out the same way. Spread love as much as possible. Maybe I'm a little bitter, but I believe that humans are not naturally capable of spreading excess love. For their family, yes, but for society in general, not so much. I think it's something that takes many years to form and typically comes with age. When we are young, it's really easy to speak poorly of people, and we usually don't hold back. But then it seems a little bit more difficult to speak highly of people. Why? It's odd, isn't it? It's almost as if we think that if we spread love towards someone else, it takes away from our own merit. That is so far from the truth, and I wish I had figured this out sooner. The kinder you are towards people, the more love will return to you. And I'm not saying to give false compliments, but just focus on truly showing love to people, and they will do the same to you, and you will be so happy that you did, and it will become addicting. Obviously, this is something that happens a lot. It is a lot easier to shit talk than to speak highly of someone. I don't know why. I guess it's always easier to complain than to focus your mind on what's positive. And it's bad. It's backwards. And we need to stop thinking that way. Instead of telling someone like, oh, you've gained a few pounds, you should tell someone like, oh, your hair looks really beautiful today. I don't know. I think there's a fine line between being kind and being fake, and you need to learn it. But I just think we need to focus more on spreading good and less on spreading bad. Time is the most valuable thing we have. And last but not least, we're going to end on a very profound note. Never ask someone if they farted. It's just unnecessarily awkward. Am I right? It's actually one of my biggest pet peeves when people ask other people if they farted. It's like if you smell something foul, obviously they've farted. You're just creating such an awkward atmosphere for that person. Why? Why? I'll never get it. Well, that's all I have on my list. I hope I didn't put you guys to sleep. I'm literally drenched in sweat and I don't know why. Like reading that made me feel so nervous. Also, I had to turn the AC off to do this video, so it's quite hot. But yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you weren't bored. And I hope that this helped you in some small way. So I've learned a lot of this stuff through reading, like I was saying. Some books that I could recommend to you guys. These are some of my favorites. What I Know for Sure by Oprah. This is actually a somewhat recent book. And what I love to do when I read is highlight sections that really speak out to me. It's something that I think everyone should do. Another good one is Whatever You Think the Opposite by Paul Arden. Something I think every couple should read, The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. This is a powerful book right here, I'm not gonna lie. How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie, a classic. And quite possibly my absolute favorite sensei. He's literally a sensei. I almost worship him. It's a little insane. Osho. And I actually love Osho's lectures so much that I have a small shrine to him in the apartment right here. Actually, I will show you guys a quick clip of it. His books are actually not books, they are lectures that have been typed out, and I don't even know if lecture is the right word. It's more like this spiritual talk. I don't know, but he's so wise. He definitely says some things that some people might not agree with, but I love him and I love everything he says. I agree with like 99% of the things that he says, and I think he's one of the wisest minds of our time. I mean, unfortunately he's passed, but you should check him out. Okay, but I'm gonna go, so I hope you guys have a good night, and I'll see you soon.